All right, what's up, everyone? I am Kim1234 with the Jump In Podcast. And hey, you guys, you're not Logan. You're not F word. What's going on here?
He's white. I don't know what I am.
You have to point the other way. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, there we go.
That's me. I don't know where I am. That's me.
I don't know where I am.
All right, so this is going to be a new segment that we've been thinking about called M.U.D, M.U.D, the matchup debate. And Chris Tatarian over here. What's up, Chris?
How are you doing, Kim?
Doing good. And with SDPnoy, Pinoy SD. Which am I going with here?
SD, San Diego.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Richard Klink, resident Bison player in SoCal, best Ken in the U.S. Chris Tatarian. They have a I don't know, Rich. I'm just
here. Getting Julio and Brent, man. You can't give me that title. We're the Trinity. Can't forget that.
That's true. Okay, so you guys are character loyalists. You guys haven't changed, except for Rich. You use Boxer, and Akali. I've seen it, so I can't give you that label.
A little bit. I'm going back. I mean, season 2, Bison well-rounded. Season 2, Bison well-rounded, so it's like I don't really need much Akali about them.
So, okay.
In my
Okay, so the issue here is there's going to be no online issues because you guys are literally right next to each other. Okay, we're going to settle the debate. We're going to settle the debate once and for all. Bison versus Ken in season 2. I'm going to give Chris. I'll give you like a minute or two. Just yourself, Richard. Don't say anything. Okay. I want to ask you, what do you think about the Bison matchup, and what factors into season 2? Ready to go.
Well, I think that in season 1, a lot of Ken players said that in season 1 Bison beat Ken, but I disagreed. I thought that Ken beat Bison in season 1. However, in season 2, I definitely think that the matchup has shifted towards Bison's favor because of a couple of things. 3-frame short gives Ken trouble. Any 3-frame character gives Ken trouble. The fact that I can't fireball at Bison at all just because of his V-skill, and the fact that he can hold it now and let it go at any time. There's not this like set time to where if I think that he's going to V-skill and then immediately throw it, I can't just jump anymore, expecting that throw to happen as soon as he absorbs the V-skill. Now he can actually have some mind games with that. Okay. So fireballs are kind of eliminated against Bison with any shuttle character. So that's a disadvantage because I'm unable to use a fireball as comfortably as I want to. EX Tatsu doesn't really work well against Bison. Even in season 1, he could down fierce it pretty well. Richard was really good at checking jump EX Tatsus. And now, especially in this version, it's not plus anymore either. So if I were to make him block it, I can't continue pressure because he has a 3-frame stand short. Another thing is that a jump medium Tatsu gave Bison a lot of trouble. And yeah, that was a very, very cheap move. So it needed to be taken out. But, that definitely hurt me in the matchup as well because I could kind of abuse the jump medium Tatsu against Bison in season 1 since Bison had to really look for the air. So now that the air game is kind of taken away from Ken, the ground game is not as strong either because Bison can, Bison's down forward fierce and plus normals give Ken a lot of hard time now that his normals are slower as well. So that's why I think it's shifted into Bison's favor.
Okay, so like if you were to put a number on it, are you sticking to 6.4 or 5.5 or what are you leaving?
I would say it's 6.4 only because of my special moves are kind of useless in the matchup unless I'm really taking like a risk with throwing a fireball. And any fireball is always going to be a risk, but now that EX Tatsu is also taken out of the picture, the less special moves a character has towards another character, it's kind of like what makes the matchup, more even if I am not able to use that many special moves in general. I'm just relying on him making a lot of mistakes as well.
Yeah, the air mobility is one thing a lot of Ken players are, I don't want to use the word complaining, but they're definitely bringing that up. Yeah. Okay, so let's a quick rundown. So stand light kick being 3 frames, Bison's ability to store the fireball with his V skill, EX Tatsu's nerf, and even if Bison was able to stop it in season 1, that means he's better at stopping it in season 2. The medium Tatsu being that got nerfed too. That's what you mentioned also, right?
Yeah, it doesn't it needed to be nerfed. It was very cheap because it had a very wonky hitbox.
Right.
So Yeah, that move needed to be taken out. But I mean, I didn't get anything. Like, it shouldn't have been in season 1 in the first place. But I think that they should have buffed Ken's ground game a little bit more instead of hurting him on the ground. Another thing that I wanted to mention as well was that Ken has throw loops in the corner, but so does Bison, if I'm not mistaken, because Bison can throw dash forward throw or dash forward roundhouse. So that throw situation in the corner is just as scary for Bison and for Ken as it is for Bison to have to deal with Ken. So just like with any character, in the corner is always going to be scary.
Okay. All right, Richard, it's now your turn. Let us know what you think about the matchup in season 2.
Well, in season 1, it was definitely a lot harder. You know, being able to store fireball helps a good amount. However, there's still a lot of recovery even on just absorbing the fireball. People look over that. There's still a lot, and he's just waiting there. I still think a jump Tatsu, got nerfed, but there's still angles where down forward Fierce just doesn't hit. And jump Fierce or jump Tatsu having that guessing game, because you can even jump Tatsu and it can go over down forward Fierce, and then you're kind of fucked because down forward Fierce does have a lot of recovery. I think it's really hard for Bison to catch a certain spacing neutral jumps where you want to, down forward Fierce and you want to apply that plus pressure where everybody's complaining about. And Ken has one of the best answers of jump roundhouse, it reaches so far. And then, of course, it's Bison, where it's you get knocked down one, and it's like, shit. You try to jump out of the corner, can crouch strong, run back in. You're back in the corner and shit. And, you get swallowed back whole. The plus, being plus and having the 3-frame normal helps a lot, especially against Ken. That's pretty much it. I think, Bison, you have to play perfect, and that's how it's always been. And it's not always a perfect world. And if Ken can knock you down once, he can easily be game. Ken in the corner is scary as hell. So,
okay.
Yeah.
In the sake of saving time here, give me 1 or 2 things that Bison does or that Ken does that gives Ken the most trouble, the absolute most trouble.
Are you asking me?
Both of you guys.
Oh, personally, just dealing with Bison's plus normals, and I feel like I'm eating a lot of chip or gray health whenever I'm dealing with Bison. So when I get hit by Bison, it's like I'm already at 50%. I'm like, I thought I was blocking this entire time. So blocking seems to not work in my favor, making me also want to use my V reversal, taking away my V trigger. So having to kind of just keep Bison away from me is a big problem for Ken.
Do you think a lack of a 3-frame? Well, you have Tatsu, but like a 3-frame normal. Do you think that would greatly help out the situation? Because if Bison is doing down forward Fierce or Psycho Axe or whatever it's called, I'm assuming that's the move that's giving you the most trouble. Because if you block any other normal, you're out of the situation for the most part, right? You're gonna have to deal with a 22-frame dash or normals that get in and stuff like that. I'm assuming this is the main issue, right?
I wouldn't say it's the 3-frame normal that is the biggest problem. Of course, any 3-frame normal would help, but I think that and this isn't just against Bison, but it would help out against Bison. But Ken's ground game needs to be better in order to deal with situations like this, because if it's not, then we're getting mauled on defense, and we don't have an air game to make up for the ground. So if you nerf an air game, you have to at least make a character's ground game somewhat better. But
do you have any suggestions for that? What they could possibly
first of all, they need to they slowed down his normals by 1 frame, all of the important ones, and I think that they need to revert that back to season 1, and then at least
punch, the main one, right?
Crouching medium punch, sweep, stand roundhouse, medium kick, and also stand strong doesn't go as far anymore. So, but besides that, I would say at least make fireballs or DPs somewhat better, because right now it seems like every character has an option for fireball and DP. So are you essentially even playing a Shoto at that point? What's the point if everybody has an answer to fireball, and it's already a risk, because if they just hold up forward, you're eating so much damage. So if I'm taking the risk by throwing something like this, then you gotta make up for it somehow. Right now, Ryu and Ken don't really have strong fireballs anymore, or Ken never had a strong fireball. So I don't know. I would say that they need to fix his ground game a lot more.
For the viewers out there that haven't gotten a chance to see Wednesday night fights, it was actually yesterday. What is it? March the 1st in the States? I don't know. Something like
Well, it's March 2nd today.
Yeah, you're in the grand finals against Mike Na, and
Yeah,
you
Mike
threw a shitload of fireballs. Just fireballs.
Yeah.
Like I think at a time maybe 4 in a row.
I was throwing a lot of fireballs, yeah.
And the reason you're doing that was because you had to gain some ground, or you had to keep him away from you, basically, right?
The thing with Vega is that like Vega is one of like 2 characters that I can actually throw fireballs against and feel comfortable, because Vega has to, do the V-skill, and if I read that he's going to do the V-skill, I can jump in on it, like, so it's not, I don't have to think too hard about fireball this time, but I could bait out Vega's jumps a lot easier, and I could throw more fireballs. I feel a lot more comfortable throwing fireball against Vega. Plus, you got to add the fact that Mike Elna is literally my training partner alongside Brent and everybody else. So I've played against this guy hundreds and hundreds of games, and I know, like, he knows just like how I play. I know how he plays. I know what's going to bother him.
He landed a lot of jump-ins, so that's all I remember.
Yeah, sometimes, but that's the risk, like, sometimes I get fireballs, and sometimes I, thought I was going to be throwing a good fireball, and he got a jump in on me. So that's the risk of throwing a fireball.
Okay. All right. And Richard, for you, 1 or 2 things that Ken does that gives you a lot of trouble.
I think the jumping is a huge thing, because jump strong is pretty slow. Jump strong air to air, and you're gonna get bodied by jumping Tatsu. So it's like kind of have to hold that. I mean, you can do jump back jab, but it's like how much damage is that? And it doesn't always win because jump Tatsu. Mm-hmm. So then you're kind of forced to just take a jump fierce or a jump Tatsu, and like I said, down fierce is a pretty good anti, but there's still a lot of times where it'll just whiff or you'll get stuffed just because it's so slow as well.
Okay.
So I think that's a big huge thing. And I honestly think Ken is one of the best characters to deal with EX Devils Averse, and people keep complaining about it, but a well-timed down fierce will never loses. Like when I play Alexis or I play Chris, and they do really well just down fiercing, and it just, that hitbox on is ridiculous. Hitting behind, getting a run after, getting a mix up after, like it's just like you make it so you just can't do that at all.
Yeah, I mean the mix up for that would be obviously 2 Devil's Reverse behind them, right? But which is harder to do in season 2, but it's still an option. It's not like
Galtu did that a lot against Eta. If you watch,
you can tell Eta. I swear, Eta just did not down fierce. I saw, but I don't think Eta did it right. But yeah.
When you mentioned EX Tatsu with the jump strong, I actually got a clip of
me catching you.
This was actually me against you. Of you.
That was a rare one. That was a rare one. I'll tell you right now. That's a rare one right there. That's a rare one.
Now.
If I wanted to count how many times I got beat by just trying to air to air, I seen that one. Okay, yeah, I bodied you.
Hey,
you know that.
Show us the video. Okay, here we go.
Let me see this.
Goddamn, green bison is so fucking okay. Anyway.
Okay, that was okay.
That angle was
that's
okay.
That's rare as hell.
Yeah, that is the angle that Ken wants the Tatsu. Look, that is the angle that Ken wants.
I don't know,
look at when he's jumping though. Look at when he's jumping.
Look at that. The foot is in him.
That wasn't a good Tatsu, by the way. It wasn't a good Tatsu.
Let me get all these, all right?
You can't hate, dog. The proof.
I gotta stay unbiased. I gotta stay unbiased.
All these.
I gotta stay unbiased, but if I were able to include my piece in on this, that was a badly spaced EX Tatsu.
Oh my!
And the jump strong was not done purely on reactions. It was on anticipation and like I mean, let's be real. That was kind of a guess too. You're like, okay, he's probably gonna do it now. Boom. Yeah, it wasn't a reactionary thing.
If the Tatsu was placed differently, position-wise, it wouldn't work in Ken's favor the way that a Ken player wants it to work. There's only a certain range where EX Tatsu benefits Ken in the right way. Other than that, it's completely useless. The move does not have a good hitbox because you can crouch it. And this happened to me a lot when I went to Japan. Everybody was just crouching the EX Tatsu. Yeah. So there's a certain range that I have to do it at, or else I'm putting myself in, like, why would I do it at a different range? But Richard was on point with the jump strong. But that, like, if I have to play perfect as well. But if I do a perfectly spaced dive kick and then he does a perfectly spaced jump strong, you just saw it gets beaten out. There wouldn't be a range that I should do that that would beat out the jump strong, because a Ken would not do it at that range, because it wouldn't benefit Ken to do it.
I still feel like that was a rare occasion. I've tried multiple times. Like you said, that's one. Like you probably could point out one time that's happened, and I could point out so many goddamn times. I got it. Oh, cool. I mean, yeah, one time. Cool. You can literally count it one time that happened. We played multiple times. You played multiple Bisons.
It's gonna be like 3 years later. He's gonna bring up this clip. Just watch.
I remember that one time you actually beat me when I did. I remember that time. Oh, sick.
All right. Well,
Okay.
well, luckily for all of us, we have a platform to figure out this matchup here. Yes.
What?
Oh yes. Oh yes. So what I want you guys to do is, get online, get that first to 10 started, and ooh, look at that! It's already set up. Did you already send him the invite?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Just waiting for Bobby now.
Okay. So first to 10. Let's see who wins, and then we'll catch up. We'll touch base, and we'll see what you guys think about the matchup.
Good luck,
Sounds good.
buddy.